Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new to me, please consider hitting the like button, and if you're feeling particularly adventurous, hit the subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow, get the message out to more people, that sort of thing. Anyway, what I want to talk to you about is a couple of things. So as you probably be aware, there's been a bit of unrest in various places in Scotland, particularly Glasgow, with issues regarding certain offenders of certain origins, migrants, yep. And things came to a head in various areas in Glasgow, and there's the Scottish press and First Minister and all that are going on about the far right, and all that carry on. Anyway, what I want to talk about is as we become a minority, which we are sort of on track to do round about the 2066 date, which I've mentioned that date before. There was a demographic study commissioned in 2010, which predicted that's the date whereby it's the point of no return. Basically, the whites will be less than 50% of the population of the British Isles. So basically, we're going to need to ensure that as we start to become a minority, and before that happens, we need to use the law to make sure that we are recognised as a minority in law and that we have protected rights. Because if we don't do that and the tipping point's reached, we are going to suffer. Our rights are going to disappear. We are going to be under attack, basically. Life is going to be very, very, very difficult. So it is. Now, with regards to the Glasgow unrest and things like that, I don't believe that we're going to see anything like a full-blown civil war or anything like that. I think we're probably going to see maybe more semi-frequent pockets of unrest the more that certain migrants rub up locals the wrong way and start to commit certain types of offences that I won't specifically name here, but you all know what I mean. And it wouldn't surprise me, right? I really hope this doesn't happen, right? I do not encourage this, right? This is not an encouragement. Do not do this, right? But it wouldn't surprise me if the natives start to take revenge on these migrant perpetrators. And if that happens and the native gets taken to court, say, what you might find might happen is that the whites might band together and they might use a process called jury nullification. What that means is that you can acquit an offender that's charged with something. So technically you know that they've done it, but you can choose to acquit them anyway. Something similar happened with what do you call those people, the Just Stop Oil protesters or whatever it was, or the Extinction Rebellion, when they sledgehammered a policewoman in the knee or whatever and they caused lots of damage and stuff like that. Now, they weren't found not guilty at the original trial, but the jury refused to reach a verdict. So basically what that meant was that they went to a retrial. But jury nullification outright means that at that first instance, that jury could have turned round and said, not guilty, even though they knew fine well that they smashed up the building, they hit that cop with a sledgehammer and all that. So you might find that that's the route that the natives might go down if they, for example, if such a revenge incident was to happen, which, like I say, I don't encourage, I don't condone. As far as like civil unrest, I think you'll probably, I mean, it seems to have kind of, I don't know, died down a bit, but I think it's just a matter of time before something else happens involving a migrant and there's another pocket of unrest. And I think in the years to come, it's just going to be like a similar pattern. The reason I say it's not going to be full blown is because we live in a surveillance state, and anything organised will be thwarted before it even sprouts out of the seed stage, basically. But things like certain people that are going a bit like crazy because there's a certain, like in certain areas, like in certain schemes and that, because a migrant's done something, that's, I think, probably we're going to continue along that path. But I think as we start to become a minority, then I think that's something that whole legal route we are going to have to ensure that our rights are enshrined in law. And I think it'll be a big mistake if we don't do that. And as for like the unrest and things like that, I think it's just going to be like a similar pattern. I don't know if it'll get really worse or whatever as we start to. I think the Northern Ireland situation, where it's different groups like whites, non-whites, maybe it's going to go down that route. But it's definitely something to think about there. But I think we could use lawfare against these folk. So if it turns out that we are involved in a case of self-defence against certain groups, it might find that, like I say, that we just all stick together and we just come to a not guilty verdict. And providing that the judicial system still functions as it is at the moment, then there's not really much they can do. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.